Good morning to my Barracuda bunch. Thank you so much for joining us for the Summer Kids Club this morning. My name is Kaya, and I'm coming to you live from the Aquarium of the Pacific. And I'm so excited because this morning we get to be super creative and crafty. It is our Crafty Critters program, and we are going to be crafting one of my personal favorite tropical fish, everyone. Now, I hope you're excited to participate along as well. Even though we're going to be crafting, you are still welcome to text in any questions or comments that you might have if you'd like to share any observations. Our number is 562. Oh, we'll have that number up in just a moment for you to take a look at so you can text in. Or if you're watching this after the fact, no problem. You can email us at live@lbaop.org. And that number is 562-286-1838. Now, if you are crafting, I would love to see your final product. So I hope you will text that in at the end when you are all finished. All right, Barracuda Bunch, who's ready to get started? Great. Oh, and I'm not alone in the studio here, so I do have Jen, who is controlling all the fun things that you see behind me. And I have James, who is controlling our questions. So you can text all of your questions into him, and he will be sure to share them with me. And if you're one of our younger viewers, just make sure that you get a parent permission before texting in, as data rates do apply. All right, friends, with that, let's go ahead and start thinking about what fish we are going to be crafting this morning. So once again, this is one of my favorites and lives in a tropical environment just like the one that you saw there. Now let's see, maybe you can even guess this fish. This is, let's see, it's a rounder fish. It has a very special way of staying safe from predators. It will get really big really quickly, or not as quickly as we might think, but quicker than a lot of other things out there. Do you have any guesses what fish I'm talking about? Okay, Jen, let's go ahead and take a look. Do you recognize that fish? It's a pufferfish, my friends. And our pufferfish is going to look something like this when we are all done crafting it. Who's excited to make a pufferfish with me? Oh, I bet Jen wishes she could craft along too, but she's got to control some pictures behind me. I know. Okay, so we are not only going to be crafting this pufferfish, but we're going to be talking about it and looking at all of the features of its body as we create our beautiful puffer. Okay, so we're going to be making some observations as well. So I'm going to take a moment to actually head over to my camera so we can take a look at what supplies you're going to need before we get started with our craft, and then we're going to come back and start taking a look at this beautiful pufferfish. And once again, any questions that you have about puffers, you're also welcome to text those in. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to need for our puffer. So the first thing we're going to need is paper. So I've picked white and yellow. I might do some different colored fins, but you, of course, can do whatever color paper you'd like. We're going to use a marker to draw on those eyes, those big bulgy eyes. We will need scissors to cut out our different shapes, and then we'll need tape to put it all together. And then the one other sort of thing I'm going to use is I'm going to use a bowl to help us create the shape of the body of our puffer. It does not need to be a bowl. If you have one on hand, that's great, but really anything circular will help. I also have some other tape here that I could use as well. So any of those items will work. So once again, we need paper, scissors, a marker, and tape, and then a Barracuda bunch. This is your puffer fish, so I encourage you to get creative. You can add whatever colors you want. You can add, extra stickers on there. Please feel free to do whatever you feel like to your puffer fish, and I can't wait to see what it looks like at the end. All right, my friends, let's go ahead and get started once again looking at our puffer fish and making some observations before we get started. And yeah, go ahead. You can text us in as well if you have any questions. Oh, look at our cute little puffer fish. Oh, I love it. Okay, so the first thing that I want us to notice when we're looking at our puffer is the shape of the body of our puffer fish, because that is going to be important as we craft. Now, if we look carefully at this little fish, what is the shape? Is it a really skinny fish like this? Not so much, right? Is it a really long fish, maybe like an eel? Not like an eel, though it does kind of have a long body shape here. What about, let's see, is it a football shape? Maybe like a shark might be, a long football? Not so much. Maybe a little bit football-like. I could see a little bit of a football here. But what do you think? I see it's a round body shape. Would you agree with that? Looks more circular here, especially right here in its face. We might take a little look at their face head on, and it looks circular, right? So what does that round shape tell us about this fish and how it's able to swim? Now, we can really learn a lot about a fish's behavior by looking at the shape of them. That tells us a lot about how fast they can swim. Are they agile? Do they hide? Now, if we're looking at a round fish like this, that tells us it's not as fast of a swimmer. And that's not too surprising, right? Because what do we know about pufferfish and how they're able to stay safe? What do they do if they are scared? Well, if something is chasing them, instead of zooming away really, really quickly like some other fish that live in the coral reef in a tropical environment might, what do these puffers do? Oh, they take in a big gulp of water and they get really, really big. So puffers can actually get to be about 3 times their size. Whoa. Do you think that's easy for a predator to swallow and eat? Not so much, right? So that really helps them in a couple of different ways. So one, it makes them a lot bigger. And so that's not so easy to swallow. And then also, it can be a little startling. If you're a fish that's chasing it and then all of a sudden the fish you're trying to eat goes whoop, that can scare them off a little bit. So being able to expand like that is helpful in a couple of different ways. Now they do mostly swallow water, but they can also swallow air. So they have a very elastic stomach that helps them do that, which is pretty awesome. And you'll notice there are some other things on their body here as well. Do you see those? What are those? They're spines. Now, not all pufferfish have spines, but this is an extra layer of defense. We are looking at a spiny porcupine fish, which you can probably tell where it gets its name from. It has all those spines. And in a moment, or a little bit later, we're going to take a look at what they look like all puffed up. Now, the pufferfish that we are going to make is not going to be a puffed up fish, my friends, because I don't want us to make a scared fish. Instead, I want you to think of it like you're looking at a puffer straight head on, okay? Are we ready to start making our puffer? Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at our supplies, and we will go through this step by step. Okay, my friends, so is this clear? Let me see if I can get that in a little better focus. Okay, so I'm going to use, I think, my white paper here to make the body of my puffer fish. Oh, and just for reference, here's what our little fish is going to look like when we are all done. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out this body here. And to do that, I'm going to use my bowl to trace a circle. Now, you don't have to use something to trace. Feel free to just try and make a circle all on your own. But I find this helpful. Okay? So there's our circle. That's going to be the body of our puffer. And now we are going to cut it out. And again, you can choose whatever size you want for your puffer fish. There are many sizes. There's lots of puffers out there. So if you feel like making a little puffer or a really big one, then that's great. Okay. Woo! My puffer just puffed away. Come back. Okay. There we go. All right, so here we have the body of our puffer, nice and round, just like we talked about. They have those nice round bodies. Now, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to cut straight up the middle of our circle. And the reason why is we're going to fold those two sides over to give our puffer a little bit of shape and make it look at least a little bit more 3D. So I just cut straight up the middle. I didn't use a line. I didn't draw a line, but you are welcome to do that if you would like. And we're not going to do this step next, but just to give you a little preview, we're going to fold that over. Can I change the contrast so we can see a little better maybe? I don't know if that helped or not. But yes, so eventually we're going to fold that over and just tape that down so that we have this nice little puffer face like that. Okay, but we're going to stop right there. I see a couple questions have come in, so I'm going to answer those, and then we will take a look again at our puffer before we move forward. All right, so somebody is wondering, do all puffers, oh, look at this little puffer. So this is a great view of what I envision our little puffers. So we're going to make the eyes a little bit wider when we do this, but this is what our view of the puffer is. It's like swimming towards you. Okay, so someone was wondering, do all puffers have spines? And no, they don't. A good number of them do, but there are some puffers out there that don't have spines. I do believe this one also has spines. We can see them right up top here. But yeah, not all of them do. But what's interesting about puffers is that they don't have scales. So they have lost their scales over time, even though they are a bony fish. Instead, they have a very elastic skin, which allows them to puff up. And then again, some of them do have those spines on there for extra protection. And I'll show you again that our little puffed up puffer so we can really see what that looks like towards the end. And then somebody is also wondering, do they have other defenses? And yes, they do. So besides being able to puff up and besides having their spines, puffers are actually very, very toxic. So they are a very poisonous fish. And that's another reason why they don't really need to worry about swimming away too quickly, is because there's not a whole lot of animals out there that would want to consume a pufferfish because they are incredibly poisonous, my friends. So yes, great questions. Puffers have a lot of really great defenses out there to keep them safe. Okay, so let's take a look at this puffer. This is a great view about what we are going to add next on our puffer fish. Because does that circle look like a puffer yet? I don't think so. I think we need to add some things. So let's take a look at their faces. What do you see there? Now, one thing that I see that I think is very distinctive on our puffers is their eyes. Do you see those big eyes right there? So kind of like their bodies are big and round, I would say that their eyes are pretty big and round as well. Now, why do you think they have these big round eyes? What does that help them with? Now, puffers, one reason why they have these big eyes is because they are nocturnal. What does that mean? It means they usually come out at night to hunt their food and get their food. So at night, it's of course much, much darker. So having these big eyes really allows them to see better. Now they have very, very good vision. Pufferfish can actually move their eyes independently of one another, and that allows them to really take in the reef around them. So having these big eyes is a really great adaptation. So you might notice they look pretty shiny as well and pretty colorful, and that also has to do with their vision. All right, so what exactly are they hunting out there? What do they need to see while they're out there on the reef? Well, that has to do with their mouth, right, and what they eat. Now, what does their mouth look like to you? This is a pretty good view of pufferfish's mouths. They have very distinctive mouths. Do you see lots of teeth like a shark, maybe? Not so much, right? So pufferfish have a beak, essentially, just like a bird. So that is kind of what we're seeing here, this little point down. That is their beak. Now, it's not a beak in the same way that birds, they're made out of different materials. So pufferfish's beaks are actually teeth that have fused together to form this beak. Now, why would they need a beak? What does that help them with? What do you think they might eat using this beak? Well, they love to eat things that live in hard shells. So they tend to eat things that have either exoskeletons, which are like crabs or shrimp, or things that live in shells that they need to crush. And that's what they use their beaks for. Now, this is how they eat in the wild. Here at the aquarium, we do feed them these things as well, but they are also able to eat other things as well. So they can also be omnivores, and sometimes we'll feed them extra things besides those things they like to eat, like shrimp. So typically they're carnivores, but sometimes we can consider them omnivores. And we're going to pull up a really great video of one of our pufferfish here at the aquarium having a nice little snack, a little afternoon snack. And this, oh, look at it. Nom, nom, nom. Really going after that lettuce there. That's basically what I do when I have lettuce too. Do you agree? Is that how you feel? Oh, and this is also great because we can really see their fins, which we're going to be adding next. So this is, again, our spiny porcupine fish. It was a pretty big puffer who just loved to take a snack out of that lettuce, a little bite out of that lettuce. Beautiful. All right, so should we head back to our puffer and start adding some things to it? Yeah. All right, so what did we talk about? We talked about their eyes and their beak. So that is what we are going to add next. Now, remember, we have this sort of slit here that we're going to be folding. Okay, so actually I'll do it like that. So we're going to be adding the eyes on either side right here, and then we're going to be adding the beak right around here. And then we are going to fold it over. So I'm just going through the steps before I do them. So we're going to add eyes here on either side, a beak down here, and then we're going to fold that over. So we want to make sure we're doing our eyes right around here below that slit. And remember, they have those big bulgy eyes. So there's the start of the eye. And then I'm going to make it nice and big all around it. And then I want to make it wider than I did for my example. So I'm going to put the other eye right around here. Nice and bulgy. And again, you saw there were some colors in our pufferfish as well. So if you want to make your eyes colorful, I encourage you to do so. And now for their mouth, we have to make that beak, right? So I'm going to do the beak right here. And to make the beak like we were looking at it head on, we're going to make a little round top part. Ooh, I actually kind of like it just like that. What do we think? Does that look like a little puffer fish? Okay, so there's the face of our puffer. And then the next part is we need to fold that over so that we can really make it a nice 3D puffer. So I took the right side and folded it over the left. I'm going to hold it here just like this. And I'm going to take a piece of tape. And I'm going to add right here on the edge, just to sort of hold it in place. Oop, got a little extra tape there. I'm just going to snip that off. Okay. And then if I turn it over, we see there's that fold there. I'm going to add a little tape there just to reinforce our puffer so it's nice and strong, ready to swim. And there's the face of our little puffer. All right, so I'm going to leave that there and let you work on that. So again, eyes, the mouth, and then folding that over. And I see a few more questions have come in that I will answer before we add to our pufferfish here, okay? So someone is wondering, do puffers only live in the ocean? And there are some freshwater puffers as well. So I would say most of them live in the ocean, and not just in the ocean, but in tropical environments. So they're found in a pretty specific habitat within the ocean around coral reefs and similar areas. But there are a few freshwater puffers as well. And the smallest is a freshwater is a pygmy puffer, which is about 1.25 inches, 1.25 inches. That is really small, my friends. So that is about like this big, which is a tiny, tiny puffer. So if you want to make a really little puffer to be a little pygmy freshwater puffer, I think that would be really awesome. Great questions. And again, if you have any more, you can text in to 562-286-1838. Okay, my friends. So here's where our puffer is right now, but do we need to add some more things to our puffer? Does this look like a little fish yet? I don't think so. What are some things that we need to add to make this look more like a fish? Well, how do fish swim around? What body part do they have that helps them swim? Oh, I see. I think that we need to add some fins here, especially these two right there. Now, puffers are pretty unique because they don't have all of the fins that most bony fish have. They've lost some of them. Oh, and this one's swimming around. I didn't even realize this was a video. Surprise. Great. So let's take a look at the shape of those fins. What does that shape look like to you? I kind of think it looks like a fan. What do you think? So we're going to have to make and those are called pectoral fins. So all fish have those on the sides of their body, kind of like this. And they use them to sort of steer and not usually give themselves speed. That's usually what the tail fins are for. But pectoral fins can also tell us a lot about how a puffer or how fish in general swim. So remember, we talked about how our puffer isn't very fast. So if it was a very fast fish, then their fins on the side would look pretty different. So their fins here are pretty small when we look at the rest of their body. All right, so let us go back to our materials and we can start adding our fins, our pectoral fins to our little puffer fish here. So I think I'm going to make yellow fins. And to do this, I'm actually going to fold. So I have this yellow paper. I'm going to fold it over just like this. So that way I only have to cut it out once. And then I'm going to use my marker here to help me draw out. So I'm going to trace it out first and then cut it out. And we need to make a nice little wide fin, kind of like a fan. Just like that. Give it a little edging. And then I'm actually going to add some rays here, right in the middle. At least on that one. I'll have to add it to my other one. Okay, so now we're going to cut this out. And great. Okay, so I have two, but I gotta add my little rays on this one as well, so they match. All along. Okay, it's close enough. All right, and we are going to tape these right on the side of our puffer, just like that. So I'm going to hold that there. And here's my tape. And we're just I'm going to tape it just like that. Oh, it can even move a little bit. We have to add the other one. There we go. It's our little puffer. All right, we are almost done. There's one more thing that we're going to add. And while you are adding those fins, a couple more questions about puffers have come in. So one question is, how do puffers communicate with other puffers? Good question. I don't believe they're able to communicate to one another. Maybe my colleagues can help me if I'm incorrect about that, but I don't believe that so some fish communicate to one another maybe by, colors or just by body language in general. If puffers have a special way of communicating, I'm not aware of it. So I get to learn something new too during this program. And Emma is wondering, why do they get scared? So puffers get scared if something is trying to eat them. So there are some predators out there that might try to eat a puffer or maybe not be aware that they are toxic. And the puffers would get nervous if they're getting chased and will puff up to let their predator know that, or to deter them, to keep them from trying to eat them. So good questions, everybody. And are they solitary or live in groups? And I do believe that puffers are a solitary fish. They're perfectly happy living on their own in the coral reef. Great questions, everybody. Getting me to learn new things too. Okay, so here is our puffer. There is one other thing that we need to add to our puffer before it's complete. What is it? What are the things that are all over their body? Do you remember? Their spines. So, here we go. Here's a good image. Now, when puffers are just swimming around normally, their spines are flat against their body. It's not something that we would typically see all the way out. Again, this is something that they do when they are afraid. So, I'm going to show you. So, most of our puffers, all of our puffers here, they usually have their spines down because they're very well taken care of here at the aquarium. I am going to show you a biofact of a puffer so we can see what those spines look like when they're all the way out. I'll just show here. Okay. You see the difference? See all those spines all the way out? My friends, if you saw this in the ocean, would you want to eat it? Probably not. So these spines are very effective at keeping predators from eating them. And we can also see its little beak right here as well. And this, again, is what they look like when they are all puffed up. But if we ever have a chance to see puffers in the wild, we want to let them be because, again, we don't want to scare them to see this. Okay, but this does give us a good look at those spines. And we are going to add those around the edge of our puffer. So I'm going to use scissors to do this, but you can draw your spines on there. You can, color them in. Again, this is your pufferfish. So let's head over one last time. So I'm just going to use my scissors to cut all the way around. If you want, you can maybe even make some shapes like that. If I had a little more time, I might do that, but it could take a while to cut all of them, but this will at least give us the idea. Careful not to cut down the slit there so we keep the shape of our puffer. And there we go. Some nice spines all over the puffer. Let's take one last look at a pufferfish. What do you think? They're twins, is what Jen said. I hope so. All right, my friends. So I hope you enjoyed making a puffer and learning a little bit more about pufferfish with me. Again, I would really love to see your final products of puffers. So please, after you are done, text those in 562-286-1838. And if you have more questions about puffers, you can email us live at lbaop.org. And Barracuda Bunch, we have one more program for you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I hope you tune in again with us. And we have more programs throughout the rest of this morning. So please tune in again whenever you're able to. And, oh, we have an answer about the pufferfish communication. Thank you to my team for helping out with that. They can potentially communicate with electroreception. So that's pretty amazing. I had no idea. Learning new things all the time. So thanks for asking that question. All right, everybody. So thanks again for tuning in this morning and making a puffer with me. And we'll see you next time. Have a great day.